finish, and it's great for period costuming. It encloses all the seam allowance so you don't see anything, and it's really used mostly on fine fabrics, a silk or fine cotton. And if an actor takes a garment off on stage, it's a really nice finish. It's not great on fabrics that fray a lot because it's a two-step process, and it involves grading. And it doesn't work so great on really thick fabrics either. So you sort of reserve it for nice, pretty things. So we're going to start out. You start from the right side. So you put wrong sides together. All right, wrong sides together. Hard to see on the muslin, I admit, but we'll give it a shot. So I'm only taking 1/4 of an inch seam here. I have 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, so I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch on the first step. So that's step 1. So you would take this little narrow seam to the iron and press it open, and you will want to grate out the fuzzies off the edges here. And you don't want to grade smaller than about a big 1/8 of an inch because you don't want it to fray out. So I've got a piece that went to the iron here. So you can see there's the little grated seam in there. And I've pressed it open, and then I've pressed right on the seam so it's folded. And now you're working from the wrong side again, but you've got right sides together. So then you're going to take another seam, and it really helps if you use the edge of your foot when you're doing these things, because you can line stuff up with the edge of your foot. So now I'm going to do basically a 3/8 of an inch seam. And that's going to enclose all of that seam allowance. See if you can see this. No, I will finish it and then you'll be able to see it. Trim off those ends. So now you've got a seam that encloses all of the seam allowance, and you would go to the iron and give that an iron. Let's see if we can put this in front of the camera so you can see that there's a seam there. And it's probably a wise idea to press from the wrong side when you're pressing this, because you don't want to see all kinds of nasty lumps. And when you're finished, you want to turn it over when you've finished pressing it and make sure it's all nice and flat and gorgeous. A couple of things to look out for when you're doing the French seam is you always start with the wrong sides together, and then when you're doing the second step, it's right sides together. You want to make sure there's no fuzzies sticking out of the seam. It's all nice and flat. And it's a consistent seam. Now you can get smaller than what I've stitched. Let's see if we can get this. There you go. You can get smaller, but it's not really necessary. And the smaller you get, the more chance it is that that is going to come apart on you. So that is the French seam.